Hey guys, did you know that there are animals that can come back to life? And there's one guy in particular that really fascinates me in this aspect. This little guy is called the wood frog. Now get this, up to 70% of his body freezes, like breathing stops, brain function stop, everything. And yet, once he thaws out, he's functioning and ready to go. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here in my jacket while it's 80 degrees outside. Fun stuff. But the fact that this frog can die and come back to life kind of makes me think of the waves we've been getting with COVID-19. Had wave 1, wave 2, and talking about wave 3. And it makes me think about also how people are wanting vaccines and stuff, or hoping for one in November or within the next year or two. But I can't help but think that wouldn't 1 or 2 years be a little bit too soon? Now, hear me out. I know you're like, a vaccine cannot come soon enough, but there's some things that might make you think twice. First, I'm going to take it back to 1955. Now, I know that's a long time ago, but bear with me, because that's 1929 is when sunglasses were invented, and I don't know about you, but that's like one of the greatest inventions ever. So, bear with me, 1955. There was a vaccine created by Jones Salk, and it resulted in a pretty disastrous escapade called the Qatar Incident of 1955. Now, this vaccine was created and given out to 200,000 people. And let's just say that it didn't turn out well. 70,000 people got polio. Yeah, polio. And of those 70,000, 200 ended up paralyzed for life, and 10 people died. Now, this raised a lot of concern. Like, yeah, you don't want to, you see this guy over there, like, you got a vaccine, he's like, hey, what's up? I got a vaccine. I'm like, good for you. And then next thing you know, polio. Like, no, thank you. And I think that this raised a lot of concern with doctors as well. And this was the start of a process, a very significant step in creating more regulations for vaccines. Now, there's this guy, Paul Offit. He helped create a rotavirus vaccine and is basically one of the top guys on vaccines. And while we are so eager for another vaccine, here's the thing. It's not that easy. In fact, there are at least 11 stages in creating a vaccine. First one, you'll have the basic gene research, and that in itself takes 2 to 4 years. And that's just trying to figure out what genes hurt the virus, what genes help it, just basic testing. Then you have, let's see here, the next stage basically involves animal testing, where we get to like rodents and maybe some monkeys depending on where you are, but this process takes up to 2 years to do, and it takes at least a year. And then you have the next step, the Ind Application. Like, this is where like procedures like food regulations and all that come into play, and these researchers have to put in what they found, and they have to wait for 30 days for this to be approved. Now, just like, you're looking at maximum 4 years for the first step, maximum 2 years for the next, and then another 30-day wait period. And that in itself is a long process, but basically for the next 6 steps out of those 11, all of it is licensing and approval of other regulations and acts and all this. So yeah, it would be nice if we got a vaccine, but look at the Qatar Incident in 1955. We do not want another one of those. And like, I would certainly hope that polio wouldn't be brought on by a vaccine for coronavirus. But there is a possibility that something like this could happen again. So during all this, like, yes, the phases and stages are bad for this COVID stuff, but we have to keep in mind that things could be worse, and we don't want them to be worse. So hang in there, be patient with our researchers, and if a vaccine does come out within the next 1 or 2 years, it's up to every individual, but personally, I wouldn't want to take it because of what happened that long ago. And yes, we have come a long way with our developments in medicine and a lot of research areas, but you never know. And I wouldn't want to be on the bad end of a vaccine that wasn't approved the way it should have been just because it was being rushed. But to each their own. And hopefully we'll be resilient like that little wood frog and we'll come back from this nice and strong. So stay safe, wear masks, and be clean.